When I lived there in 1999 or 1998, but it looked like bombed out buildings. The South Side the same way, these beautiful old mansions because people couldn't afford to live there anymore because everyone had left. And the tension between the police department and people of color, it was palpable. I started a program there called, I worked for the local Fox station called St. Louis's Most Wanted, where I had to work with law enforcement. It was always easier to work with the FBI rather than work with local police because they didn't want you to know what was going on for fear that you might uncover something that they did not want to
All right,
be aired.
former NYPD. I mean, you see this story. We've covered other stories. We talk about use of force. We don't have all the details in this particular case, but what's your initial read?
Well, it's sad. An 18-year-old was killed, but you know, you're right talking about the aura of the place and how it's volatile and these places are. New York City used to be like that many years ago because I was in a lot of those riots the same way here in New York. So I know, you know, the tension and what happens with that. And when you have the riots, it kind of ruins, you know, anybody's having, you know, trying to help out with this, and it ruins, you know, you see people
The looting
and it ruins the whole, you know, what you're trying to develop here. There has to be, at some point...
I have an itch in my hand.
There has to be a relationship between the police and...
I can't hold this camera up.
This
I need a
particular
pod.
person was looking for a black cop or a white cop. I think
We
that
don't
they-
even know the race of
I
the
know,
officer,
but,
by the way.
And that doesn't matter. See,
You're saying that doesn't matter if
No,
it's
it doesn't matter to me.
African-American.
This is about people who are in positions of authority. And just because you're black, white, or Hispanic, or you're a woman or someone who has been oppressed traditionally...
Because
it
my
does
last
not-
guest said absolutely it did.
I disagree with him. I heard him. I think
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter to me because you can still be co-opted by a corrupt system. If you're a member of a police department and you're for the most part, if you're a member of a police department and you have corruption in the police department or you see people being treated certain ways, you can be co-opted by that and it can rub off on you. You can start treating people the same way. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me. Yes, it does, but for the most part, I don't think it matters to me what color the officer is, and I think that takes away from exactly what's going on. For me, this is about the treatment of men of color in our society. They are treated differently, whether it be law enforcement, whether it be at work, whether it be at a grocery store, whether it be on the street. They are treated
I don't know about
differently, and
that.
they have a different level,
moving
get a different
ahead,
level of respect.
listening to the police chief earlier talking
I mean, the
to
police over
Taylor
here
Berman
kinda-
saying, you know, yes,
they just
they
do
were
their
asking
job.
about how use of force issues within police departments, and he said, listen, obviously we'll come to find the
This is gonna be a
truth of
big
what
story.
happened.
This
But
is
he
gonna
said,
be one of the
we'll
major
use this
stories for
incident
sure.
as a training opportunity. My first thought
So,
was,
acts of greatness.
all this training, it keeps happening.
We got time
right?
to
You
sort
can't
it out.
know
We
what
can do
happened
this.
in Ferguson, but how would you train
We have
that?
Brooke
The
Baldwin.
issues of
It's
authority,
happening,
it's
but it's
Don
happening
Lemon.
because of what I said. Everyone keeps saying training, training, training. This
Exactly.
is about people not realizing that there is a double standard, that people live in a different world, and quite frankly, for white people to realize that black people, especially black men, are treated differently. It is a double standard. Until people realize that, nothing is going to
Part of
change.
Elsie Grant,
Nothing
we're
is
talking
going
in
to
the next hour.
That's not
Let me
going to
hear
change
from you.
soon, though. What
Yeah,
you're
that's-
talking about.
that's
So
so-
it's really what we're
So
talking
then-
about is the police and the community.
Right.
And you know, did this cop stop somebody for jaywalking? Guy puts his hands up and he shoots him 15 times or something. You know, how absurd is that? I mean, I really don't think that particular thing happened. The other police say that, you know, he was in the car struggling for the gun. I mean, if he was feared for his life, then some kind of action was taken. So they have to balance those two off and see which really is right. I don't think anybody's going to stick up for an officer who shoots a 18-year-old kid and kills him with several shots. And
In
you know, heck
time,
with him.
the truth
Can I say
will
one more
emerge.
thing before you go? When you're talking about the rioting, yeah, it's terrible about the rioting. I agree with LZ. I hate when people riot
Yeah.
and loot that happened in Katrina. But when people are put in dire situations,
Alright, calmer heads have
you don't know
prevailed.
how they're going to react.
Maybe it's
I'm
not
saying
gonna be a big
right.
story, I don't know.
personally urge people to be peaceful and
We
calm.
seem to know the
I'm
problem,
not saying I agree
though.
with them, but I understand.
Alright, maybe we'll move on to a different story because
Should never be right.
this is scary for me.
People are frustrated.
Saw those kids
They
running down,
react.
breaking out of
They
their-
react the way they
Right, everything looks good
As I
here.
said, I don't agree with them, but I understand.
Don
Yeah, you
Lemon,
can't understand.
Gil
I do
Alba.
understand it.
Gaba.
Thank you. We'll be talking about this, sadly, I think, for some time to come. Appreciate both of you. Next.